Hi there, this is Jenny Seek, and I am trying this for the first time on my YouTube channel, Inner Voice Intuitive. I just wanted to start to offer some tarot readings, intuitive tarot readings, to talk about what's coming up, insights that are coming up in the near future. And I wanted to be more visible and offer these insights directly to you through my channel. So let's just start to check in now and look at what's going on, what we can think about coming up and notice is coming up for the 15th and 16th in the next couple days. We have a lot of big changes going on. Right now, we have a lot of retrogrades that are going on. I'm going to try not to turn my head anymore. We have a lot of retrogrades that are going on. We have Venus in retrograde, which is ending, which is all about relationships and difficulties, transitions in relationships, honoring our authenticity in relationships and deepening into them. And we also have Mercury turning retrograde. Mercury turning retrograde is all about communication glitches, ups and downs, being slowed down in terms of what our more vigorous goals are out in the world. And sometimes it's a time to be able to look and reflect and make sure that the things that we're doing in the world are honoring who we authentically are. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of you are bumping up against some of that energy. And depending on where you are in your own lifespan, your own lessons, either really kind of getting a head bump from the universe or really getting some deepening awareness about how to move forward and really honor and recognize who that authentic self is. Even when it can be confusing, when we're maybe being offered things that seem very pie in the sky, things that we don't feel like we can turn down, things for whatever reason, whether it is our reputation, whether it is something that just seems too big to walk away from, whether it is, entrapment by obligations with our family or our culture or wherever we are. This is a time that offers us an opportunity to connect more deeply with what our authentic truth is, with what our calling is, with what we're meant to do, not with what we feel like we have to do. So I'm going to look today at these aspects coming up for you, considering all of that retrograde activity, considering all of that astrological stuff, as well as Chiron. And Chiron is the wounded healer, which means we're having an opportunity to go over some of our deep issues, some of what Jung calls our complex material, so that we can find deeper authenticity, deeper truth, deeper energy, and deeper passion in our life. So I'm going to just shuffle the cards now, and I'm using the Gilded deck here. And as I do this, I'd like you each to turn in your own ways and set your intention for what we may be pulling up. So I'm putting the deck in 3 piles here, and I'm moving my hands over all 3 piles, and I'm picking the left pile. And I'm laying the cards down in the Celtic cross spread. And as I'm doing this, I will talk about the cards and show you the cards that are showing up in each position, so you can have some insight into what is coming up in the next couple days. And whatever's coming up for you guys, don't be too hard on yourself. We're really going through a time of great transitions, great opportunity for depth, great opportunity for deeper connection with the universe on our own terms. But this is a bumpy ride right now. So be gentle with yourself, honor where you find yourself, honor anything that comes up that might not be what you think it is, and try to set your ego aside. Try to take your head out of the picture. All right, so here we are in our present situation, and this is the significator or the querents. And this here is the King of Wands. Leo, Sagittarius, Aries. This is your fire energy. So fire energy is your intuitive energy. King is the masculine aspect, so the active aspect of this intuitive energy, really wanting something, really driving towards something. And sometimes this king can be a little impulsive in the mix. Sometimes he can be not real sure what he's moving toward, and very ambitious about the outcome of that. And he can be very, very driven, but he can also be very, very impulsive. So when I say the masculine energy, this doesn't necessarily have to be a man, but it's just that more active, ego-based energy in each one of us. So it doesn't surprise me that this card comes up in light of the astrological energies that we're facing right now. What's crossing, helping or hindering, obstacle or opportunity, depending on how you look at it, is the Eight of Pentacles, Taurus, Capricorn, Virgo. This is our earth energy. So this is about success, and success on our own terms, which is really what we're asking to be connected with in this time, is success on our own terms. And sometimes it's hard to dismantle all the things we've been offered, all the opportunities we feel like we've been given, all the limitations that sometimes come with those opportunities, feeling like we can't walk away from something. But this guy, this Eight of Pentacles, is offering us a depth way of doing things on our own terms. The Eight is all about success. It's about success by really figuring out what's authentically true for you, what's right for you in your journey, and walking away from things that maybe feel like they're predestined. Maybe they feel like they're being pulled up from somewhere in your earlier life, and maybe you didn't feel like you had the conviction or the ability to walk away then. And so you put all sorts of things in the path that made you feel like you had to take this path. There was just too much riding on it. Well, what I want to tell you is there's not. And the more that you have these opportunities to circle back around and be in the same place, the more you realize that really this is something you're working on internally on yourself. And this is about honoring your own authenticity, your own truth, your own unique journey in the world, what Jung calls the individuation process. And the Eight is the perfect number to get to help us do that more readily. So in the place of the distant past, card 3 is the Five of Pentacles. So whenever we get this card, this has to do with our family of origins, our firsts, difficulties and obstacles that we've overcome, our ancestors. So energies of the that are really very, very concretized, or very already set in our makeup. So this is maybe our karmic stuff that comes up, that we bump up against, where we feel like we really go underground, or we're really unconscious about what we want to do moving forward. The fives are about deepening connections with the self through creativity and things either falling apart creatively in a destructive way, a chaotic way perhaps, or coming together through integration and through deeper awareness and deeper knowing. And because this is a pentacle card, again, this is about how we do things in our life. So this tells us that we're all going through some really heavy stuff right now, and that we need to do some deep self-care and really honor where we find ourselves and what is authentically true for us on a deeper level. And if we are having inklings of things that feel like they're patterns in our past that we can't override, there's an opportunity to kind of go, aha, and have a different perspective or different perception. Whenever we move into a place of what's called our complex material, there's really an opportunity to see it from a different vantage point. Sometimes the tendency is to get into this ego-based place where there's a lot to win or a lot to lose. So it feels like we don't have a choice. But what we need to do, especially in a time of retrogrades, is slow down and recognize that we always have a choice. We always have a choice to go in a different direction, to start to dismantle something that doesn't honor who we are in the world. We always have a choice to look from a different vantage point and to do some of that shadow work where maybe there are stumbling blocks that we're encountering in ourselves because we have a blind spot. So there's always an opportunity to slow down and recognize these potential woundings, right? Because we have the energy of Chiron right now that's very, very active. These potential woundings as being an opportunity to heal ourselves and heal the world. So if you're feeling really, really conflicted, really overwhelmed, perhaps the thing to do is to slow down, to turn in, to look at it from a different perception, different perspective, and send love out to the universe and make a decision based on your own unique integrity and a deeper sense of love for the world. And that opportunity, that beautiful opportunity that you're so looking for, will come back around on its own terms if you honor your intuitive no's as well as your intuitive yeses. Often we're told that we should offer this intuitive yes, and in the metaphysical community, everything is very, very positive and very yes, but we have to also offer honor what is not right for us, honor our no's, right? Our stops, our dig our heels in. And we have to be able to recognize the difference between just digging our heels in because we're tired or we're overwhelmed, or digging our heels in because it really isn't the right opportunity for us. And where it's a deeper digging our heels in, I would say, where there's an intuitive knowing that comes along with it. And that's where that stopping point is. So that is the Five of Pentacles. Now, in the immediate past, is the Ten of Wands. Leo, Sagittarius, Aries. More fire. There's a lot of fire energy in this reading. A lot of intuitive looking at yourself. A lot of ambition. There comes a lot of ambition with the fire cards. This is a 10. This is closure and new beginnings. So if you're facing something that feels like it's something that you maybe shouldn't have walked away from, or maybe if you look at your life in the past and you say, oh, before I felt like I didn't have a choice, but you're now in a place of choicefulness with this, and you start to walk away from something that doesn't feel right for you because either it's overwhelming, it's too much, or it's it just doesn't honor who you are internally, or it just doesn't feel right inside. Know that the 10 allows you to get to the energy of 1 again, because in numerology 10 becomes 1. 1 plus 0 equals 1. So we have Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end in this card. And so this is where it may feel, depending on where you are on your own trajectory, like a big mistake, or like you failed, or like you have been ridiculous, or not listening, or something like that. Maybe you've gotten those messages in the past. Really, this is a grand opportunity to listen to yourself and follow your calling on a deeper level. Moving into the future, the immediate future, this is the High Priestess, and she is the first major arcana that comes up in our reading. I love the High Priestess. She's about wisdom, feminine wisdom, receptivity. Think about the time that you now have on your hands to do things on your own terms now that you've been able to set whatever this was to rest, whether this for you has to do with romantic energies, whether it has to do with business opportunities, whether it has to do with family obligations. This ability to get deeper in yourself about what's right for you and set aside things that aren't right allows you to have the time to do your sacred work and to do it on a deeper, more authentic, grounded level. So the High Priestess is all about, I'm going to shift, my arm is starting to hurt. So the High Priestess is all about doing the best that we can in a difficult situation. And with all these crazy energies coming into the mix, many of us are experiencing difficulties that seem really daunting. And the job here is to sort out, to slowly separate the pieces that feel the biggest from the pieces that feel smaller, so we don't get overwhelmed. And the High Priestess is an indicator that we're doing the best that we can in a situation that's difficult, that may be a struggle, that may be recurring for you. So the High Priestess is about your deepening wisdom, your deepening ability to honor your own unique truth, Moving into the distant future, the Eight of Swords. And swords are Gemini, Aquarius, Libra. These are your air energy. So these are our thinking capacity. And this is about the tendency to get caught in these issues again. Now it is an 8, so 8s are about success and the fact that this is the right place to be on our journey, and that this has to do with the perspective that we look at something with. If we can untangle what is called our complex material by looking at it from a different vantage point, we can recognize when this energy of opportunity in shamanism, when this kind of dark night of the soul comes up, that it's an illusion, that it really is an illusion. And this has to do with how our body feels, how our body responds, how our body constricts or tightens up, or makes us almost feel like we can only do one thing in the world. But really, that's where the illusion is. And that's where the creativity needs to come from in you, where you start to reflect and go into this place of deeper integrity. So if it feels like you're in a tightening, constricted place, honor the fact that you're in a smaller space in some ways. And what I mean by that is it's not time to go out and vanquish dragons and make grand proposals. It's time to reflect and to refine and to recognize where you are on your journey. Oh, we have so many 8s. This is so nice. We have an 8 of Pentacles, an 8 of Swords, an 8 of Wands, and the only 8 that's missing is an 8 of Cups. So I like to think about what's missing too, because what's missing is sometimes the shadow component. And the 8 of Cups is missing, water is missing, our feeling response to our success is missing, which tells me that there's some work to do around confidence building, around self-esteem, about honoring your past feelings when things haven't worked out. And when there are this many 8s, that is about being on the right journey. And the wounding is part of that right journey. The wounding is what will allow you to bring your people in and around you who really help to heal you, because you can be authentic with yourself and with them. And wounding is a part of all of our journeys. It is what we do with it, how we give our love back to the world, that really determines whether or not where we are on that trajectory, and how we use the energy of that wounding to find new life. Okay, and I'll get back to that 8 of Wands. Okay, so this is our environment card. And let's see. This is the Knight of Swords, Gemini, Aquarius, Libra. So our environment is about focusing, looking at whatever's come to pass, looking at whatever might have been difficult, whatever you're encountering now that seems difficult, that seems like an obstacle, and recognizing that while there is a piece of it that has to do with turning in a different direction, there is also some thinking that can go on, because this is air energy. So this is about how we think. Air energy is also about how things work out there in the universe, right? Air is invisible, it can act quickly, it can change an environment quickly. So if we can read air energy, we can recognize new opportunities, and we can move away from opportunities that no longer offer movement or momentum in our life. So the fact that this air night is here is all about the focus of how we could hone in on our journey and make better choices and decisions that honor our path more clearly and directly, that allow us to have larger abilities to manifest what we really want, instead of what we think we might be able to get, or what might feel a little bit like a square peg in a round hole. But then we've been taught in our culture to ignore that, haven't we? As opposed to really looking in and recognizing that when we do our own inner work, we can manifest exactly what we need to manifest. So this is our unconscious card. This is the way other people see us, and maybe our blind spot. Sometimes when we get caught in something that isn't right for us, and we feel like we have something to prove to ourselves or someone else, we can go into this kind of, driven kind of, I have to just push through. And we all do this differently depending on our own elemental makeup. But this is about going back to that place of peace and connection with our tribe, and recognizing that other people see us in this clear and shining light, and getting support from the people who see us in the best way, and who see our gifts and skills and honor who we are in the world in the most clear and most beautiful way. This is a card of momentum, and again, this is the 8 of Wands. We have all sorts of wands in this reading. Wands are a fire energy, so that tells me that you guys are on the right intuitive path, and even though we're really facing some very bumpty bump obstacles, that if you turn inward, slow down, and recognize what feels right for you, no matter what's going on, you will build the momentum you need to build on your own terms. So moving away from things that no longer fit, or if there are obstacles that feel too big or too insurmountable, moving away from those pieces and knowing that you're making room for something much, much better on your journey. So the 8 is about building momentum, and momentum building in a way that you don't have to work so hard, right? If it had been an earth sign, it's really about doing. If it had, and when I say earth sign, what I mean is Taurus, Capricorn, Virgo, and that's Pentacles. But this is really about our intuition. This is the fact that our intuition is really on par with what our needs are. And instead of going into this thinking place and maybe overthinking and or overfeeling, this is a place of trusting our intuition and deepening into our own vision with the energy that we've regained by making decisions that are better for us. This is our hopes and or fears card. It's the devil. I know it's really scary looking in the Gilded Tarot, but this guy is all about what we get addicted to. And we can get addicted to things on a bodily level, or we can get addicted to things on a habitual level. And so the devil reminds us that when we go into the space of, our self-talk, our negative self-talk, oh, this stuff is coming up again, this stuff shouldn't come up again. Well, we don't know what's going to come up in the universe. We have the opportunity to make better decisions, surround ourselves by better choices, and live more authentically. But all of these obstacles come up as opportunities for our growth. And so the job is to realize when we're in a cycle, where we don't feel like we have enough control or enough voice in the situation, where we're not listening, where we're driving through or pushing through, and things aren't going the way that we need them to lead the life on our own terms. And then the devil comes up to say, hey, you're really out of kilter. You're really off kilter here, and you really need to listen more deeply. All of us have shadow places where we meet our demise. I like to think of, like, when we're really in a place that's difficult in ourselves. Everybody's going to leave us. We're going to be homeless. It's the most dire black and white kind of way of looking internally at our journey. And we all have that space that we can go to. But when we sidestep that space, when we say, oh my gosh, I'm having a really hard time right now, we sidestep that space. Instead, we give ourselves love, unconditional love. And we do that by walking around that space and maybe making a better choice in the long term, but walking around and getting a different vantage point instead of buying the whole kit and caboodle of, oh, I'm on my way to hell, but I have the best intentions. And our outcome card for the reading is the Wheel of Fortune, which is so beautiful for May, which we're coming through April and going into May, because there will be so many opportunities. The energy of Jupiter will be activated in May, and Jupiter is about luck and divine opportunities and resonance and magic. So if you have honored yourself, you will be in the space of that. Otherwise, you may find yourself very, very busy. If you find yourself busy with things that don't feed your spirit, don't honor your soul in the world, you know that it's time to sort again. It's time to go back to the what we call the prima materia, that unformed space, and let go of some stuff. Let go of some stuff that doesn't speak to us anymore. But this is about how to best use these opportunities and how to recognize right timing in our world. And it's a major arcana card. And then I always do a sprout card. Oh my golly, and I didn't look. When I said there were no cups, look, there's the other cup that we needed on our journey, all the emotions that we need, all the other 8, I'm sorry, the other 8, not the other cup. We have the emotions of the cups to balance out the energy of the 8s, that we really are on the right path, on the right journey, and that the right people will find us there, and that this little blip that you may be going through right now due to Chiron and the wounded healer, and going into this space of, where our wounds are and what we do when we feel wounded. Do we lash out unconsciously? Do we use rationalization and avoidance and all of those defense mechanisms, which we learned when we were children? Or do we use better skills? Do we move out of that space? Do we recognize that when we express our emotions authentically, we can move out of a space of difficulty? And the 8 of Cups allows us to do that by feeling our feelings. And all of the 8s, the Cups, the Swords, the Pentacles, and the Wands, help us on our journey to recognize what is true and authentic, what is rising in us, what helps us be more aware in the world, and what helps us live a life of our dreams. And so I hope you've enjoyed this reading. We are in for a bumpy ride, but I encourage you to love yourself more clearly, and those in your environment who you choose to send love to. Send love in unique ways, and we'll grow that love in the universe. My name is Jenny Seek. I'm in Columbus, Ohio. If you'd like a reading with me, I can be reached through Selkie, IMASELKIE, @juno.com. And I can also do it via Skype or telephone. And I look forward to when we meet again. I look forward to seeing you at another reading time. Have a great weekend. Bye now.